Welcome to the Fruitful Fertility Co. podcast, your holistic, faith-filled, no-fluff guide to getting pregnant naturally. I'm your host and TTC BFF, Tori Black, here to pull you out of your weariness and cheer you into God's calling to be a mother, all while giving you the simple, bite-sized steps to improve your fertility. Let's trade stress and overwhelm for hope, because girl, you look fertile to me. Hello, my friend. I am so glad you're here. This episode is going to be a good one. If you've been around a while, it's going to take some of the things we've talked about as far as nervous system and minerals and kind of like make it really easy to understand and break it down. And if you are someone who is here for the first time, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. But you're getting right into the good stuff. We are going to be talking about how minerals impact fertility. We're going to talk about why they're important. We're going to talk about ways to spot mineral imbalances and what to do about it. And I am so very biased, obviously, but I just believe that mineral balancing is such an excellent way to go about unexplained infertility because we are really digging deeper, going a layer deeper that the doctors didn't even look at and didn't even consider. And honestly, it's helping my clients get pregnant on average in 3 months. And that's naturally. No procedures, no doctor's appointments, no shots, no artificial hormones, no nothing, just mineral balancing, which is just so mind-blowing to me. Even still, I've been doing this for a long time now, and I'm still like, I cannot believe how effective this is. And so I want to break it down today in a way that's really easy to understand. So we're going to start with why minerals are important for fertility. And the reason minerals are important is because they are the building blocks your body uses to make and regulate hormones. So if you are someone who has gone to the doctor and the doctors run all the labs, they checked your hormones and they said everything's normal, it's unexplained. Well, really, even if your hormones look okay on those blood labs, there's still something deeper going on underneath the surface. It's a dysregulated nervous system and it's a mineral imbalance. We don't have all the minerals we need for those building blocks. In the medical world, a lot of times you will hear them refer to minerals as the spark plugs to the body. Now, I don't know diddly squat about cars, and so I don't really even know what a spark plug does. I know it kicks off the reaction, right? But I really like to think of it more as like gas in the tank. We have a car. You can't crank it. You don't know why it's cranking. You pop the hood. You look at the engine. You do all of that. But if there is no gas in the tank, it does not matter what you do to the engine. It doesn't matter how much oil you put in there. And so we're really digging deeper and almost like to the more basic thing. Let's get down to minerals. Let's get down to what's really going on. And so to bring this into like a picture that makes sense, I want to give you a few examples just so you can kind of see how these minerals are playing into your fertility. So one example is magnesium. Magnesium is really great at calming the nervous system, which we know is really important. It also helps to make progesterone. So for you ladies that have that low progesterone, maybe you have spotting before your period, you're like, I know I have low progesterone. You might be deficient in magnesium. You might be burning through your magnesium too quickly. Another example is sodium and potassium. These two together really manage fluid balance within our body and stress resilience. So there's something called the NAK ratio, and this is a pattern that I see a lot on the women, sometimes men too, but a lot on women. And what we call it the vitality ratio, like how well are you doing? How much vitality do you have? What is your resilience like? And when it's really low, the sodium to potassium ratio is really low, I know you're burnt out. And burnt out, not having enough sodium and potassium is not like a quote unquote safe environment for a pregnancy, right? Our body is always prioritizing our safety, and that does not feel safe to our body. Then we've got minerals like zinc and copper. These help with ovulation. They help with healthy progesterone to estrogen balance. For men, it helps with testosterone and sperm quality. And copper is quite the booger. It is really its own beast. And a lot of times I see that women that were on birth control for years and years and years and years have a copper dysregulation, which is messing with their estrogen or their progesterone. And in those cases, we really have to work it like very gently detoxing the body from this copper overload. So it's not just that you're estrogen dominant, it's not just that you're low progesterone, it's that you've got a copper imbalance that we need to correct. Copper also comes from pipes. That's something you can check if you have an older home. See if you have copper pipes. You need to be making sure that you are filtering your water really, really well. And this is true for anybody and everybody. I have a whole section in my HTMA course about water and like filtering options, and why this is so important, because a contamination from water can also stress your body out. So again, talking about that sodium and potassium ratio, that's that vitality ratio, it can really be depleted by something like a water contamination. So just like well water that has too much aluminum or arsenic or something like that. My last example is iodine and selenium. These are really important to support thyroid hormones and your metabolism. I would say 90 to 95% of my clients end up with extra iodine support in their supplement regimen, because we all have low iodine. It's just not something we get a lot of in food, and it's something that our thyroid needs to operate optimally, but you don't want to have too much iodine either. So there really is a delicate balance there, but we need that iodine for thyroid hormones, and our thyroid hormones really regulate a lot of our other hormone production. So an example would be that how much your thyroid impacts ovulation. You have a sluggish thyroid, you have less than optimal ovulation. If your thyroid can really impact how well your liver detoxes estrogen. And so if you have estrogen building up in your body, then you have things like PMS, the breast tenderness, the painful periods. And it's kind of a negative feedback loop, because then the more estrogen build up in your body, the more sluggish your thyroid becomes. So it's all connected. So having minerals like iodine on to support a really healthy thyroid response is so important. So even with just those few examples, and that's really like the tip of the iceberg, you can see how much minerals really impact healthy hormone levels, which in turn impacts ovulation and pregnancy, right? So how can we spot mineral imbalances? A lot of different ways. Energy, how is your energy? Do you constantly feel fatigued? Do you have that wired but tired feeling at night? Your cycle, we kind of mentioned that before. Like if we have low progesterone and we have that spotting, we know we might have a low NAK ratio. We might not have enough magnesium on board, those kinds of things. We see that in our digestion, in our skin. So for me, if you follow me on Instagram, I've been talking a little bit about my acne situation, or maybe I've shared it more here on the podcast, but it is a digestion. I have low stomach acid, so I know that is in turn affecting my skin. So that is a sign of a mineral imbalance. I think that unexplained infertility is another perfect example of a sign that you might have a mineral imbalance as well. And I think that's why this method tends to be so effective with clients that I see, because once we get the minerals balanced and we get things, we root out what's causing the mineral imbalance, and then we fill in the gaps with the minerals, then our body feels safe, it feels optimized, and it's ready to get pregnant. So what can you do? Like if you're like, okay, that sounds interesting. I know I have some of those mineral imbalances from the symptoms that you suggested. What can I do? Well, first let me tell you what you are absolutely not going to do. Please, please, please do not go out and buy single mineral supplements. Do not go out and buy a copper supplement. Do not go out and buy a potassium supplement. Magnesium is probably the only exception to this rule. I do see a lot of people taking magnesium, feeling better, but do not go out and buy single mineral supplements. And the reason for this is because supplements either have a synergistic relationship or an antagonistic relationship. They either work together and one's up, the other one's up, or they have an antagonistic relationship, meaning they work against each other, and when one goes up, the other one goes down. They all kind of work together in this like little mineral matrix, so to speak, where they all influence each other. And even when I'm going over clients' HTMA tests, I tell them that we're going to focus on the first 4 macro minerals, which are calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium, because those first 4 minerals influence the balance of all the other ones. So if those are low and out of whack, we have to get those in line first, and then we will see that it influences all the other minerals, and we get a more clear representation of what's actually going on. This is another reason why all those generic Facebook, Instagram, TikTok recommendations you've seen for supplements have not worked for you at this point, because you likely have a different mineral imbalance. Not everyone has the same mineral imbalance. So if these 1 or 2 supplements worked really well for Tina, but she had a calcium shell and you have a low NAK ratio, they're not going to work for you. This is why I love HTMA so much, because it's not this like generic, oh, you have low progesterone, let's put you on the same protocol we put everyone on. It's like, okay, you seem to have low progesterone. Let's look at your minerals. Let's look at your specific priority or imbalance and supplement based on that, so your body, what you need, gets better results. And then there is also this emotional component too that I work with through clients of like, what's causing the imbalance in the first place? Let's look at, let's not just say, well, oh, it's stress. Let's look at what the stress is. Is it an unhealthy work environment? Is it an unhealthy relationship? Is it trauma from your past? Like, let's root that out so that we know exactly how to stop it from happening again. And another thing that's really cool about this method that I really love is that you get to see the wins. You get to see the hard work you're doing in real time. So typically in the first month, my clients already feel better. They have more energy. They notice that they just in general feel better, typically an energy aspect. And then maybe month 2, their period, they see changes in their period. So they have less spotting. Sometimes their period gets longer. It's kind of funny. It seems like their period gets really out of whack and they get really worried, like, what the heck is going on? And I'm like, oh, just trust the process. We're on the right road. And then a month or 2 later, they're pregnant. But you'll see changes in your period. You'll see changes in the way you sleep. You'll see changes in your digestion. You'll see all these little wins that make you feel more hopeful. And you're like, okay, I can actually see that I'm on the right track, that my fertility is actually improving. And so now I feel like I can continue and stay consistent because I know I'm on the right path. That does so much for your motivation and your mindset and your nervous system in itself. I mean, one of the things I say all the time about Rise and Source, which are my favorite fertility boosting supplements, you can shop them in the show notes, but I like the way they taste. And so I actually stay consistent and I actually see results because of that. So this is similar. It's like the steps you're taking are simple, but you actually see results. So you want to keep doing it. It just makes it easier to stay consistent. So if you are wanting to improve your fertility, you're trying to get pregnant, you feel like you have tried all the things, your labs are quote unquote normal, maybe your labs aren't normal, you're like, my labs aren't normal and I still need help. Come do HTMA. Let's do an HTMA test together, get you some very clear answers and a very simple plan to follow. You can stay consistent, see those wins, and finally get pregnant naturally. The link for that is in the show notes. I would love to support you, and I will see you next week. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If this episode touched your heart or taught you something, I'd be honored if you share it with a friend who could use the information too. And if you want to be the real MVP, then would you also take 30 seconds to tap those 5 stars at the bottom and leave a written review telling me what you're loving? It lights me up to know this podcast is really helping you. Don't forget, you're super cute and super fertile, so meet me back here next week and let's keep chatting and learning together.